Find us.
Awake and ready. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters of self-realization, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, and Paramhansa Yogananda, saints and sages of all traditions, hear our prayer. Divine Mother, raise our vibration. Help us to transmute ego consciousness, desires, negative thought patterns, disconnects into thy glorious light. Help us to be transformative agents. Earth angels. To share your love and joy. With all whom we meet. Om. Peace. Amen. Welcome everybody. It's a joy to have Melissa here with us for Sunday service. And we're really happy to be here. So please be seated. We're going to start with a song from Duty as we explore together the question, does Satan exist? A CC. Looks like.
Sorry. Yes, I'm still in a CZ. Can you hear me? Okay, good. Yeah, Swami's music speaks to every occasion. This is one of my favorites. The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dances will pass, the singing will
take this next chant, Cloisters, into meditation. Let's prepare for meditation together. Yogananda said, a bent spine is the enemy of self-realization. For feet firmly planted, draw the shoulders back, open up that beautiful Anahata chakra, feel that beautiful green lotus blossoming within your heart, and lift the energy up to the spiritual. Beautiful indigo lotus expanding, circling, this beautiful pathway of awareness. We open our heart, relaxing our heart open as we chant Hong on the inhale, Saw on the exhale. Allow that beautiful channel in the inward spine to become free. Imagine at the base chakra a beautiful sphere of red light. See that red light illuminating. Feel that divine support always with you, grounded in abundance consciousness. Expand that energy center, sending roots down your legs into the earth mother. Support me, mother. The energy lifts up to the sacral chakra. The color is orange. See that beautiful rotation. feeling any blocks to living in our joy, and our Ananda begin to release as this beautiful sphere expands, lightens, brightens, rotates, releasing blockages, opening up the astral spine for our true nature. I am joy. And the energy lifts up to the solar plexus. See that beautiful yellow sphere of light rotating, illuminating, expanding, feeling any blocks, any control, any disconnect as we open up to our innate power, our superpower, the staying power, the power of now, that beautiful yellow expansions. Divine confidence is yours. Being in that beautiful flow. The energy lifts up. Relax your beautiful heart open. Feel your breath expand into the heart center. Beautiful green ring, Kelly green ring, circling, illuminating, lightening, and brightening. Feeling your heart open, it becomes a portal to release any blockages, any darkness, any fears, any disruptions within the astral spine. I live with an open heart. We are all here to be examples of unconditional love in the world. In reaction to life, we close down our hearts. In response, we open up our beautiful hearts. Feel your heart relax, open, and lift to the blue throat chakra. Beautiful expansion. The light penetrates the blue chakra, lightening and brightening it, releasing that voice of ego, of judgment and criticism, and opening up to that divine voice of encouragement, of expansion. The voice of love speaks to me and through me. The energy lifts in a beautiful sphere of light from the medulla oblongata through the spiritual eye. Beautiful sphere of indigo light expands, rotates, releasing any blockages to divine sight, seeing through the eyes of duality and lifting up to the eye. When thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be filled with light, says Jesus. Seeing with the eye of light, releasing the darkness, naturally expanding open the crown chakra, the 1,000-petaled white lotus, and call in the masters of self-realization, gurus, remover of darkness. Help me to live in thy divine light. With expanded consciousness, deep concentration at the Agya chakra, we'll meditate together in silence.
This week's affirmation is on generosity. Most people think of generosity as merely the giving of material benefits to others. More important, however, and much more satisfying is a generous spirit, a willingness to let the other person shine, even if it means being eclipsed oneself. A happiness in his good fortune, even if it means personal loss for oneself. a concern for his safety, even if in an accident one's own property has been destroyed. Generosity means, above all, recognizing that everything we have and are belongs to God alone and is his to dispose of where he will. So please repeat this affirmation after me in a loud voice. I am happy in the good fortune of all. I am happy in the good fortune of all. Even more than in my own. Even more than in my own. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. Now in a normal conversational voice, I am happy in the good fortune of all. I am happy in the good fortune of all. Even more than in my own. Even more than in my own. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. And now in a whisper, I am happy in the good fortune of all. Even more than in my own. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. Now repeat silently. I am happy in the good fortune of all, even more than in my own. For in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. And again, silently bringing the attention to the spiritual I, to the superconscious. I am happy in the good fortune of all, even more than in my own, for in my happiness for them lies inner freedom. And pray silently. All that I have and am is thine, Divine Mother. Dispose of it as thou wilt.
Now we'll have our reading from Rays of the One Light.
Okay, so Rays of the One Light by Swami Kriyananda. This is week 33. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your breathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. The Bible tells us in chapter 4 of the Gospel of St. Matthew, then, after baptism, was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. To most modern minds, this passage seems quaintly obsolete. Psychologists would say, have said in fact, that the temptation of Jesus, if it occurred at all, was purely psychological. They call it a protection of desires lurking in his own subconscious mind. The subconscious plays a strong part, certainly, even if not a unique one, in any testing a spiritual seeker must undergo. The Bhagavad Gita, in dealing with the undeniable reality, quotes Arjuna in the 3rd chapter and then Sri Krishna's reply. Yet tell me, teacher, said Arjuna, by what force doth man go to his ill, unwilling, as if one pushed him in that path? Krishna replied, desire it is, passion it is, born of the darkness which pusheth him. Mighty of appetite, sinful and strong is this, man's enemy. Yet even Krishna describes passion as born of the darkness. The fact is, as Paramhansa wrote in the autobiography of a yogi, all thoughts vibrate eternally in the cosmos. Thoughts are universally and not individually rooted. A truth cannot be created, but only perceived. Psychology, yes, but psychology attuned to currents of consciousness that pervade the entire universe, attracted by each of us according to our own personal inclinations. Yogananda, quoted in The Path, said, "I used to think Satan was only a human invention, but now I know, and add my testimony to those of others who lived before me, that Satan is a reality. He is universal conscious force whose sole aim is to keep all beings bound to the wheel of delusion. We should take pains, then, to attract uplifting currents of universal consciousness, and to avoid attracting the negative, which, disease that it is, can infect our thoughts even while it leads us to believe that our thoughts are purely our own. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
Beautiful. From Whispers from Eternity. The caravan of my prayers is moving towards thee. The caravan of my prayers is moving towards thee. In the eyes of kindness, I behold glimmers of thy mercy. Even the bare trees of dark lives flicker with the myriad glowworms of thy shining life. The caravan of my prayers has been working its way slowly through dry wastes of arid doubts and furious sandstorms of despondency, yet at last far-off glimpses of thy oasis of silent assurance have roused me in my drooping efforts. Eagerly I await the moment when I can dip into thy reviving water my parched, thirsty lips of faith, and there drink deeply from thy well of bliss. So, we're asking the question, does Satan exist? I remember the first time many years ago, Roy, you might have remembered it, but I was asked to do my first reading, and it was, does Satan exist? And it made me so scared that I had to hand it off to somebody. I was like, I don't want to, just the vibration of it didn't feel right for me. And I just remember that when you were saying that, when you were reading. So God raises our vibration, Satan brings it down, right? It brings us into that ego consciousness, right? It makes us more susceptible when we're living from our ego to tune into those negative vibes, right? God regulates us, right? Satan dysregulates us, right? Ever feel dysregulated where our emotions are going up? We don't feel grounded, right? Yogananda said that. He said, I suffer when you have moods, for then I see that Satan gets a hold of you. And he talked about how past indulgences, right? When we got consumed by indulgences, desires, and all that in the past, that's what creates our moods in the present day life. So if you're going through moods, you may want to take it one step further and look within and say, what desires did maybe I get pulled into? And I look back, and it's funny because every time I prepare for Sunday service, there's always some work to do to be able to prepare and be a channel for the talk. And the eclipse this week, what's been eclipsing your light? I felt a lot of stuff happening, right? And I just felt like all this pull. I was telling Melissa on the phone today, like these desires. I've been ice cream. Like some voice in my head said, it's summer, you need to have ice cream every day, And I've been retail therapy too, like ramen, Chandra are coming to visit, and I'm like, well, I got to get a new teapot. Mine's broke. And then I'm like, oh, I need a new umbrella, and I've just been like, oh, what's trying to happen here, right? But how we get pulled out, right? We get that little fix, right? That little retail therapy, and it's like, oh, I feel good, or ice cream, oh, little sugar high, oh, I feel good, but they're not real, right? They're false, and we can get tuned into them and get pulled out of them at different times in our life. If we think about it, God connects us through love and Satan through fear. And can not put that on though, Inez, because, oh yeah, the lights are fine, yep. Thanks. So if we look at the word even evil, right? Turn it around, live, right? So when we're in darkness, there's a death that happens to us, a death of our true self. And when we truly begin to live more and more and more, we get so sensitive, we get so vibrationally aware that we can feel that trickle into negativity, and we're able to step up into that upward flowing current, right? There's two currents, just like in our internal spine, one lifting us up and one bringing us into unhappiness and despair and darkness, one bringing us into optimism and clarity and joy. And so, we want to live, and to truly live, we have to keep rising above the darkness and do it over and over and over again. So I thought I'd start with a few encounters from different people, different really beautiful, holy people that had experiences in this specifically. And I first want to just start by just acknowledging Nayaswami Sadhana Devi, because she was just a beautiful divine mother and a beautiful mother to me. She was one of my first with Karen, who is Nam Prem Shanti, divine mothers, and really, introduced me to Yogananda in such a beautiful way. And she passed away in July, and I was able to see her with Kyle, and we went to see her at the nursing home, and she was, it was such a joy to see her. And Jaya said, if we get one smile, we're going to be lucky. And I think she smiled 15, 20 times. So I was really glad to do that, to say goodbye to her. But she really, sadhana means spiritual practice, right? Our sadhana, our daily spiritual practice, our daily appointment with God. And Sadhana Devi, divine mother, and she just lived up to her name, She's, no matter what, every day she did her practices, morning and night, and she was such a beautiful mother. And I think about how it even started. She was the person who said, Kelly, will you start a meditation group, right? And that's how, remember Giovanna? And that's how it started, right? Because then that's how we kind of came to North Kingstown, because my home was in North Kingstown, and I think it started some energy moving there too, and her and Jaya would come, and then I would start leading it on my own, and it was just this, it grew me, it really grew me, because I had to prepare, and I had to keep living in the teachers. And I think maybe she saved my life in that way. I really, really think what a powerful, powerful divine mother energy, and what a beautiful source. And I am so grateful that she was in my life. And she lived here for 4 years, and I got to spend a lot of time with her. And I just want to honor her, and just, when she passed, I could see what a jubilant homecoming it must have been, everyone seeing her, because she just lived this supreme life of discipleship in her beautiful marriage, and every breath she took was for to serve Yogananda and to serve the teachings and to help people to awaken out of ego consciousness and truly live in super consciousness. So we thank you, divine, beautiful Sadhana Devi. But she told a story in Loved and Protected, which is Asha's book, and it was named Saved. And so just like always, she was doing her practices one night, her meditation and her prayers, her kriyas, and she went to bed. And a few hours later, she found herself in this terrible nightmare. It was like she was transported to hell. There was terrible screeching noise. There was dark energies attacking her consciousness. She was so terrified. It was just, she didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, she remembered to call on Yogananda, because she always had such a deep relationship with him. And from the beginning, she always kept her eye on Yogananda. And she called at him, Master, with all her heart. In a moment, she woke up out of that hell. And she realized, what she said is, instantly, She said, "Oh, just as I was about to be beheaded, I called on Master and instantly awoke. Beautiful lessons encouraged." She was so encouraged. She said, "He is always there and will always respond to us in time of need." And because of going through that terrible thing where that terrible nightmare, that dark forces attacking her, that she was able to call on Master. And that's what we can do every day of our life and every moment when we feel ourselves going down maybe into a channel of despair or a channel of disconnect or darkness. Am I moving too much? Okay. And so Yogananda said that the guru means remover of darkness. Right? So that's what the word means, actually. And so that's what a guru does. When we call one into our life, he starts to work on us from the inside out, giving us more and more access to divine light. The guru is our beloved helper who works from the inside, giving us blessings and needed strength. Gradually, as we devote time into the guru's consciousness, we find our consciousness changing and old habits disappearing, and new ones manifest, opening us to superconscious inspiration and guidance. And a story from Yogananda's time in his life when he felt this inspiration one day to call on his friends and gather people around. Let's raise some money and let's feed the hungry. Let's feed the poor. And so they went about and they found different ways to raise money and gather the money. Then they went shopping and bought all this amazing food, and they got together and they cooked it all at the ashram, and they were just all working together, and they fed so many people. Droves and droves and droves of people came to eat. And he just served and loved and cooked and did everything with everything he had. And that night he felt like so physically tired. And he said, "Surely this is one time God won't mind if I don't meditate." And at that moment, he said, "I heard Satan's voice speaking to me in a tone of honeyed sympathy. Oh, poor boy, he works so hard. Let him rest. Surely he deserves a good sleep." He leapt up with outrage, sat firmly in meditation, and did some Kriya breaths. And he said, all of a sudden, he felt this beautiful energy, and the rest of the night he remained in divine ecstasy. What a beautiful lesson, right? Let's have some more ice cream, Kelly, right? Whatever it might be. Right? You don't have to meditate, you're too tired. So remember that evil, and it turn it around, and we live and we be free. And so Yogananda said, to truly live and know deeply the meaning of life is to know the only solution is to turn back over and over and over again, to resume a life of meditation and devotion. You were born to know God. This is the only purpose of life, of human life. So like every time we come together, we reset. When you go to Portugal, we hope to see you online, Meredith. Because we can all be together no matter what, if we're in cyberspace or in person, but it's always beautiful, and we're always here because we help each other remind each other, right? We bring each other into an energy, a new vibrational awareness. So Saint Anthony was another great saint who had an encounter with Satan. And he was so determined to find God that he would spend many, many years meditating in a tomb in the desert. But all that time he was tormented by devils. And at last, after many, many years of meditating and this dark force coming at him, but him keep choosing to stay strong, to stay courageous, that Satan appeared to him and threatened to destroy if he didn't give up his search for God. The wall started crumbling. The whole thing was caving in on him. All these dark forces, there were pictures on the cave wall of animals that came to life, and they were attacking him, and they was after him in so many, and he just looked up and just called on God. He said, "Please all at once, he said, a great light appeared. He called on and gazed up into Christ, and that beautiful light appeared. And Jesus stood looking down at the tomb and regained his former appearance. The whole cave did. Hello, welcome. And darkness vanished. And Anthony felt the divine ecstasy of divine awakening was giving to him. And the vision of all his incarnation, he saw how he had been seeing God. And Anthony cried out from his soul, Lord, where were you all those years I've been seeking you? Where were you, Lord? And Jesus replied, I was with you always. I was all the time with you, Anthony, with deep, deep love in his heart. And that's what we have to remember. Sometimes we feel alone. Sometimes we feel disconnected. Sometimes we can get pulled in and get tough on ourselves, or come into despair, or feel that hardship just pulls us down, and it just kind of takes us over, and we can almost spiral into that. But then we just have to remember, it's all about divine memory, Shmiti, remembering we are never alone. And the purpose of life is to keep that memory alive within us, to truly live in that truth. There was a time when I was at yoga teacher training, and I was doing a breath work. It was called the wave breath work, and you do some deep breathing, and you go into subconscious patterns, and you move into it and bring anything, fears or angers or old imprints, some samskara, up to the surface into consciousness, so that you could have more space and move into super consciousness in a new way. And we did this breath as part of yoga teacher training, and I moved a lot of stuff, but then I went into this beautiful state of bliss, and I was in what is called sometimes, I guess it was the universe or the void. It was in the nothingness. I was just in this beautiful place of complete stillness, and I saw Yogananda, and I saw Sri Yukteswar, and Babaji, and Jesus, and Lahiri Mahashaya. And I was in this energy field with all these great souls. And my heart was just bursting open. I could feel with all my heart this connection. And I felt so expansive in this energy. And then I saw this dark, we're talking about does Satan exist, in case you want to know. So, and then I saw this dark energy, right? It was like, ugh. And I was like, oh my God. And in my mind, I was like, there's no way this great masters would hang out with this dude. And I heard very loud and clear a voice in my head that said, you must be willing to see the darkness in order to live in the light, right? So don't shy away from it. We have to see the parts of ourselves. We have to live in them. We have to be with them. We have to trust that everything has to move and be transmuted. Sri Yukteswar said, the past lives of all men are filled with many shames. Until we anchor into the divine, but forget the past. Just make a spiritual effort now. That's the most important thing, is to keep that beautiful spiritual effort alive and know that we can transmute anything that lives within us. And that's the power that we have. Remember, we have the gurus on our side. They are the remover of our darkness. And a beautiful gift that Asha has given us is she talked about how we have to really truly have vibrational awareness. We must keep our vibration uplifted. And she said this is a lifelong practice of shifting our conscious thoughts and daily habits. We must tune into uplifting universal thoughts, right? Because we know that thoughts are not individually rooted. They're universally rooted. So I'm not going to have a thought that is unique, right? Our thoughts, we're either tuning into the negative thoughts or the upward lifting thoughts. It's up to us. It's just a tiny step, or just move an inch out of these eyes of duality into the one eye of truth, into that divine perception. Just a little misstep or up step, or a little lift up, whatever you want to do. But it's up to us to make that step and keep making those steps. And so she said, we must tune into, right, uplifted universal thoughts. And she said there's 3 ways. The first one is to monitor our inputs. That means environment, the people, the movies, TV, what are we watching? Are they uplifting or pulling us down? Music. All this can directly shape our energy, right? Remember all those beautiful Emoto things where we're all water, right? We're 90% water, and we tune into something like beautiful gardens and we're like this, or we tune into some dark energy. Right, they took those water bottles and they had people praying, and then they took pictures of the water and it looked like these magical, beautiful rainbow designs. And then they had people think about all the negative stuff, and they took pictures of the water and it was all like dark, clumps of ugliness, right? It's like, and we're water. Right? We're so much water, but we're so much spirit too. But we have to see that we are really, really affected by the environment, by the people, by the experiences around us. And the more we lift our inner vibration, the more our outer life it reflects that back to us. I think about the gardens in my life, in my yard. It's like there's so much more heaven on earth that I've ever lived in. They're so beautiful this time of year. It's like more and more our inner consciousness creates that. It's not that we have to change the outside and then we feel good. It's like, no, change what's within us, and everything gets, heavenly realm is exposed to us. We can live heaven on earth. We can live free. Second, she said, is avoid distractions, mental loops, worry, toxic habit, whirlpools of energy, and working with the chakras. That's why I did that meditation today. Beautiful to really tune into, is there any, sometimes we think, oh, I'm not feeling grounded or supported. Well, let me just energetically tune into that root chakra. See that color red, see that sphere, see that lighten and brighten, feel that energy uplift. We also have the Om technique, right, where we chant Om in the chakras. Very, very powerful way of clearing this energy and this beautiful channel of divine light. And Yogananda said that we have karmic bombs, restless and selfish desires that spring up from the consciousness, from the conscious mind. So our awareness of vibration, right? When we're really awake, when we're really alive, we can feel when a negative thought hits us, and then we just stop for a minute, relax our heart open, and just allow it to transmute. Otherwise, that negative thought, we can either spin into it. And that's how it replenishes the ego. That's how the ego gets to eat and gets bigger and more troublicious. And then it just, it likes to scare us to death, the ego, right? It finds like food for thought, right? And so we can live in that synchronicity, in that beautiful divine flow of energy more and more when we remove all these blockages that is part of the dark. One morning, I was getting ready to go on our camping trip, and I woke up and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to meditate, and then I got to go. I signed up for boot camp, and then I'm teaching yoga, and I'm going to see some clients, and I got to pack and I got to go to camping. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I wish I didn't have to go to boot camp, but I already signed up for it. I opened up my phone. Boot camp is canceled. It was never canceled once before, ever, right? So it's like, great. So then I decided to go for a walk with the dogs into Wickford. I was talking to Susan on the phone. I was like, I need to get some bubbly from the cooler, because we love that stuff, Shannon especially. There on the steps of Wickford was 12 cans of bubbly with a free on a brown paper bag that said free. It's like, it was even bubbly, okay? So I picked that up. I'm like, Susan, can you believe this? Right, da, 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 da. Then, I'm on my way out, and I stopped at the store to get some flowers for here. And I came out and I was like, oh, I really wanted to get some shower shoes. There was a pair of size 8, very cool shower shoes at my passenger's door, right? True. And I was like, oh my God, shower shoes, right? And then it was like the whole camp. The minute we set up our altar, we make this beautiful altar. A bunch of us went camping. It was so fun, right? And once we set up the altar, everything magic starts to happen, right? The food tasted amazing. We went on this amazing hike, and we did go about 8 miles out of our way. But then Shannon and Ananda found 2 park rangers that took them to the car and came back and got us. Everything just worked out. We had a big rainstorm, but we all cuddled and cozy in our tents, and then we had this big tent Keith left us that Amanda had, and then we had Janet left us something for the food, and it was all so beautiful and so perfect, right? We can create heaven on earth. The synchrony of life happens when the darkness that disrupts us and disconnects us in the spine gets loosened, those vrittis, right? That energy gets loosened and free, and we can truly live. And I'll just end with this final story of a great modern time guru, a great sadhu. He was called Swami Ramdas. And he roamed the forests in this beautiful synchronicity and this beautiful divine grace. He roamed the forest and the villages, and he carried with him the bliss of self-realization. And he was walking through a village one day, and 3 boys saw him, and they tried to get his attention, but he was just absorbed in God. He took no notice of them. He was just in this bliss, right? But they were angry about being ignored. They wanted to be seen, and they started heckling him and calling him names. And then they started throwing rocks at him, trying to get his attention. But he was just in this bliss, right? In this connection, just seeing the divine, right? And finally, one of them just smacks him and hits him. He's bleeding. He's been plummeted with many stones. He walks back into the forest with his devotees, and someone said, "Master, what happened? Who did this to you?" And he said, this is what Ramdas said, "The boys in the village had such fun this afternoon. They were laughing and running about, throwing stones. What a good time we all had." Right? He couldn't see any darkness. He can't. We can rise above all of it. And I know this is a self-realized master. But this sadhu lived above the darkness and the protectiveness of God's light. He vibrated with pure love that he could not turn into any. He lived heaven on earth, and that hellish. He didn't see it as a hellish experience. And we too can live in that pure, divine love and light and joy and vibration of God, always and forever. I moved quite a bit. Okay.
Please take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother, we offer to thee the fruit of our labors. Bless this offering, that it serve as a channel of thy light.
That it serve as a channel of thy light.
To truth-seeking souls everywhere.
To truth-seeking souls everywhere.
Om. Peace. Amen.
If you're seeking freedom in a revolution, or if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. For once the guns stop blazing, you find it amazing how the world can drag on just as before. If you're seeking freedom in a marble mansion, oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. For even when it's sunny, you'll be counting money, keeping up that showcase, your face lined with care. And if you're seeking freedom on a throne of power, oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there. For though men all obey you, what if they betray you? Hence you'll be in waiting for foes everywhere. But if you're seeking freedom, cast away desires, why barter like a beggar? You've wealth everywhere. For never can you buy it, grasp and you deny it. Freedom can't be hoarded, it's free as the air. And if you're seeking freedom, seek it on the mountains. Got sunlight on your shoulders, the wind in your hair. For there's no one can hold you, boss about or mold you. Once your heart is free, you'll be king everywhere. For there's no one can hold you, boss about or mold you. Once your heart is free, you'll be king everywhere.
Thank you, Duty and Rachel. Let us have a festival of light. Let us lift up our hearts in a festival of light. The essence of this ceremony as it passed down from ancient times, O waves that we are in the bosom